Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Make this zoom in. It's fine. It's fine. Not that anyone can see on the video anyway. It's fine. But is the audio alright? Then we are good. I've been asking this question. Are we living as if God is real? What does that mean? What does the question imply? In what way would God be real for us? Huh? Huh? In experience, in direct experience. You see? So the experience which is not perceptual is intuitive. Huh? You stop me wherever something is not clear. Don't nod if you don't understand. Because if you nod, then I feel you're getting it. Huh? So just have a confused look on your face, then I'll look at you. Or just raise your hand or something. So when I said the experience which is not perceptual, was that too strange? Something to say? A non-phenomenal experience is the experience of the self. That is what it means to know yourself, self-knowledge. So, to know ourselves is to realize the reality of God as well. Most of us are waiting for the wrong type of experience. They're waiting for some fireworks or some other side effects, special effects. But the non-perceptual experience of the self is the most pristine, most beautiful, easiest, most original, most natural, and also the most difficult. How can it be easiest and the most difficult? Because we want certificate from the mind. Correct. We want certificate from the mind, and also that even forget like certificate is later, but the mind says nothing happened. So the mind is waiting for some phenomenal thing. So the mind will say, you're just fooling yourself. It is not true. You found nothing. It does not get the distinction between nothing and nothing. You get the distinction between nothing and nothing? Yeah? Good. I like that honesty. That's how we can meet. It's very, very good. Because if everyone keeps nodding, then actually I don't need to speak. So it's very good. So we'll try and explore this first. What do I mean by nothing versus nothing? So nothing just means a negation. There's nothing there. कुछ नहीं है. Huh? There's nothing at all over there. So you don't need to bother. So to the mind, that which is non-phenomenal or that which it cannot perceive is nothing. Forget it. The no thing is that which is, but is not a thing. You see? It still is, but it's not a thing. What makes something a thing? That it's perceivable. So not bad. So once you can say that it is perceivable, you see, what makes it perceivable? Huh? Everything from the mind. But the mind will give it labels. So even in pure perception, before the mind, it is still perceived, something can still be perceivable. So what is that which is perceivable? A quality, gunas, no? So this is what is called the saguna. It has at least one quality for it to be perceived. It will have color, shape, size, something which will make it perceivable. Now, what is that which is but doesn't have any quality? Doesn't have shape, size, color, location, duration, none of these qualities. What is that? Huh? The one that is perceiving all that which has all these qualities, and or to be clearer, actually, to be technically correct, that which is aware of even the process of perception. So we'll come to that distinction between perceiving and awareness in a moment. But this part is clear, that everything with the quality, what is the problem of grasping anything which has qualities? That is the fundamental principle of Vedanta, isn't it? Because it comes and goes. Everything that you perceive cannot be taken to be reality, because reality does not come and go. It is the eternal truth. Everything that you perceive, it comes and goes. Therefore, grasping is suffering. If you're going to grasp at something which is going to go, what is going to happen? Suffering. Or if you keep waiting for that or something to come, that's also grasping, which is also suffering. So either way, whether you grasp at something that already is perceived, or you grasp at things hoping that they will come, not even realizing that everything that comes will go, both are suffering. So how do we find that which is beyond the realm of perception? I'll start with the simplest way, then we will make it more complicated, because the more complicated will seem simpler to the mind. Isn't it? So right now, just remain in pure perception. Don't label anything at all. Don't interpret. Don't make sense of anything at all. Let all your thoughts come and go. Now, are there only perceptions that you are aware of? They also exist. Which means you're saying that beyond what you're perceiving, there is an I which is aware of perception, that is witnessing these perceptions. Is this true? If I said to you, no, there's no such I, you're just making it up. Huh? And that I. What can you do with it? You can see it. Yeah. Okay, so the eye which is aware of perceptions, what is its color? No, it's just the same. It's just the what is the guna? What is the quality? I exist. So you're talking about the I amness itself, the I existness itself. You see? So we'll come to that in just one moment, which is the primordial vibration or the subtlest. On the cusp between the unmanifest and manifest, there is this sense of being, the I amness. But we'll come to that in just a moment. So, but that which is aware of sight, which is aware of taste, touch, smell, that is here or no? Is there. And how can you tell it is there? This is all woo-woo stuff now, okay? Megha?
You see it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, how do you say it's there?
How do you know that it is there?
Because it's you verify yourself, because it's you. I mean,
So what if it's you?
so it's self-evident. It's
In what way? Like if I was a tomato, I would know I'm a tomato?
No, you would know you exist. Maybe you would like a tomato. But
Yeah, but this is that which is aware.
yeah,
So how is that known?
it's known without any perceptual quality or anything. Every, everything knows.
Everything knows itself.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you know.
So this one knows itself.
No, you know you, Father.
I know I.
You know it's you. You can't say it's somebody else. That knowing is the awareness which knows.
Yes, but how do you know? How does it know itself?
You know directly because you don't need another. You don't need I don't need my senses or thoughts or system to verify my own.
Yes. So to see the body sitting in front, you need sight. To hear the voice, you need hearing. So what she's saying is that you don't need any of this mechanism to know yourself. Because if I was to tell you that you are not aware of your sight right now, you are not aware of your hearing right now, you'd say, I'm going to stop coming to satsang. Because if I force you to buy into that, because it is apparent to you. Is it not? Who's not with us? Everyone is together in this? On Zoom, everyone's frozen anyway, so it looks like we're together. The I, which is aware of all perceptions, aware of all that which comes and goes. Mhm. Mhm. Yes? No. So, this hand you can perceive? Okay. The I, you, which can perceive this hand, what is its color?
Seen from my eyes. Seen from my eyes and see
It's
the
seen
color.
from your eyes.
Yeah, the skin color.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then where does this information go? To whom?
To the mind.
Okay, suppose it went to the mind, and then how does it come to you?
Like you're saying that the sensory or the senses I'm having, how do I perceive it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And rely on direct experience. Like we started, no? We have to rely on direct experience rather than anything that we've learned. So we learned about the brain, we learned about neurons, we learned about all of those things. Just keep them aside. Just directly right now. You are perceiving the image of this hand,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. That you, tell me one thing about it. Take your time, don't worry.
That one is that is already known. I mean, it already knows that I'm perceiving or I am
Yes,
seeing,
yes,
and
yes. What does it look like?
what it looks like.
Yes.
I cannot say it has any attributes, whether it has a particular form or.
Yes. And how are you aware of it?
How am I aware of it?
Because it doesn't have any form. But what about you?
Father, can you please repeat?
Yes, yes. So we confirm that there is an awareness which is aware of all perception, and we are unable to find any shape, color, size, form, any of these attributes. Now we're saying it doesn't have any of this. I'm asking, how are you aware of it?
I am simply aware of it.
Yes. As something which is separate from it? What is the distance between it and you?
That is all me.
Are you inferring this, or is this learned knowledge or direct experience?
It feels like it is all me. I'm not able to distinguish that the one who is aware of it
Yes.
and who is also aware of this entire thing happening.
Yes. So that which is aware of all of this perception,
Huh.
you are saying that it has no quality, no shape, nothing. Now, this you, which is reporting about that, is it distinct from that?
I still can't confirm. I see.
So this one, this I, which can't confirm, is which one?
It seems like the mind.
Okay, and what is witnessing that mind?
I am only witnessing that mind.
Yes. So this I, which is witnessing the mind, tell me something about it.
It's so I can't describe it. Like I'm getting all sorts of sentences in my mind saying it is like this, like that. But if I'm not listening, if I see, I just can't. It's palpable. I can sense it, and yet I'm not able to describe it.
How do you sense it? In what way?
Like I feel a lot of vibration here, and
Okay. So is that vibration also not perceived? And the one that is aware of this perception, is that vibrating?
yeah, that is also perceived.
Who is aware of this perception?
Mother, I'm aware of this.
Yes, and this I, tell me something about it itself.
It sees everything. It knows everything.
What can we
Yet,
know about it?
sorry?
What can we know about it?
Okay. Like, how can I know about,
It knows everything.
yeah.
What can we know about it?
Can we?
That's the question. Huh? What do you know about it?
It's always there. It's constantly there. Uh,
Where? Where is it?
I know the answer in my mind.
What is the answer in the mind? Let's hear.
It has no location.
But it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
But where? That which has no location, we could not say it's there or here. So it's indeterminable in the sense that the mind cannot fathom.
Exactly, yes.
Now, you that is making this or recognizing this, you that is recognizing this, is which one? Okay, shall I make it simpler for you? I'll make it
Yeah.
simpler. You are aware of the perception of this hand?
Yes.
It's you, no?
Yes.
Sure?
I mean, the one who is perceiving.
Yeah. Aware of the perception.
Yes.
It's you, no?
Yes.
How do you know it's you?
I know it.
You know.
Yeah.
You just know.
Yes.
It's not that as if you can see that I. You can't see it, no?
No.
Are you just thinking it is you, making it up?
No, no.
No. It's clear it is you.
Yes.
Okay. So if this is you, is there another you? Are there two of you?
No. It no. No.
Is this the only you?
That. Sorry, I'm taking time.
Take as much time. We can spend 10 satsangs on this. And the rest have to follow along, not just wait for their turn.
No, there is no two.
There is no other you.
Yes.
Now this you that is aware of the perception of the hand, what does it want?
It wants nothing.
Or nothing. How old is it?
Can't determine.
Can't say.
Yes.
What can cause it to suffer in any way?
Sorry?
What can make it suffer in any way? What can trouble it?
I always felt that if I believe a thought, then I'm suffering. But
Even upon believing a thought, does it suffer?
no,
Because it has no quality, it has no shape. So it cannot suffer. Isn't it? Now, we've gone back to referring to it as it, but is it you?
yes,
Now, without letting your mind intervene, just naturally tell me something about this you, this self. Don't fear any judgment or anything at all. What is the question you're answering?
to tell something about this one.
Yes. About your true self.
Yes, Father, when I'm able to see this one, it feels complete.
In what way are you seeing it?
Like right now, experiencing it. This
What is its color? Is it black?
the first thing which came was like it's void space, but kind of.
You have to ask what is aware even of that, isn't it? So that which is aware even of like an abyss or a void, isn't it? Is that you?
Yes.
So what can hurt you? What can harm you?
Nothing. It's untouchable, I feel.
Untouchable.
Yeah.
You are what? It is untouchable.
I am also that.
Also, I'm just hammering these because
Yeah.
the mind will quickly come and make a distinction. And for years, people have told me that, yes, nothing is happening to it, but can we come to me now? But it is you, isn't it?
Yeah, as if I'm going towards it, but I am it.
But
Why does it feel difficult to describe it, right? When you're asking, I feel so like blank about to describe it.
because we're used to describing things which have qualities, that they have color, shape, size, it's easy to describe. But because you are beyond these attributes, The mind is not designed to describe that which is attributeless. That's why you'll find it easier to say not this, not this, not this. It doesn't have shape, it doesn't have color, it doesn't change, it doesn't age. So the negations are easier.
I just can't believe I'm talking to you and these words are coming out, feeling as if
Now, is there any effort required for you to be this?
right now, no.
What is the disclaimer for right now?
Sometimes when I start believing my thoughts, I feel I have to take some efforts to drop it and to simply stay empty.
Very good. So now we can come to that question. If this remains untouched, whatever may happen, then why do the masters keep emphasizing not to get involved with the mind? Don't serve it tea, don't identify, all these pointers, remain open and empty, don't believe your next thought, all these pointers. So what happens? Can you give us a live commentary when you believe a thought? Right now, what are you?
Right now, I'm this awareness.
Very good. Now keep waiting.
Keep?
Keep waiting for a thought to come.
Huh.
And if you believe it, you tell us what happened.
No thought is coming. Okay.
Once you welcome the mind, it doesn't come, but it'll come.
So a thought came saying again that you have to take efforts to, drop it.
Once you believed it, what changed?
I felt, kahan gayi main? Like,
Yeah, say it, it's okay. What did it feel like?
like,
Kahan gayi?
it's like, I feel desperate. Like, no, I want to be back with the presence or, be empty.
So
Even for
you took yourself to be a limited entity again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now let's try one thing. Believe a thought, but don't take yourself to be limited.
Believe a thought and
Don't take yourself to be limited. Stay as awareness itself. Be as you are.
how is that possible?
Are you checking or are you inferring?
No, inferring.
Don't infer, just check.
I'm trying to believe a thought, but it's not happening.
Not able to. What a good problem to have. No? Once you welcome these things, then it seems so difficult to get into delusion. Once you fight them and say, no, I should not, then it seems easier.
I'm just saying that I don't want to go back to my past and
What the mind is saying, who does it apply to?
it applies to the non-existent one.
So how much should we bother with it? Or you could have used that in your experiment to believe it and still remain as awareness. So we're not to bother with it because it's talking about a non-existent one, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have to force yourself to stay?
At times, yes.
Not at times. Right now?
Looking at you now.
Looking at me, it's not difficult. But actually, in reality, it is our original, most effortless place to be. But because we've got the habit now of picking up the mental baggage for so long, it can seem like sometimes that it is effort to drop it. Anything missing?
Got this fear that I have to stay empty. And
You have a fear that you have to stay empty, which is not letting you be empty.
yes, and that's why it feels like a heavy thing. Like when you say,
Who is it heavy for?
to the false one.
The false
It's not
one. So it's
exist.
just a thought, isn't it?
Yes.
The conclusions about the false one are just thoughts. They never are insight. They are never are intuitive seeing, isn't it? Now, if a fear comes on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rate this fear?
5, 6.
5, 6. Okay. So now imagine that that fear is 5,000, 1,000 times this, and tell me how it hurts the reality of you. Suppose it's really menacing, it is just everywhere, it is constrictive. That which is aware of it, what happens to it?
Nothing happens to it.
Yes. Now, is there another you which it can bother?
No.
How much space do you have inside you to have even 10 times this 5,000 amount of fear? When do you run out of space? For fear, any emotion, can you say, no, this is too much? Like when we say it's too much something, at what point does it become too much? When it takes up all your space, all your being. So what can take up all your being? No, without belief, just the feeling itself. Is this awareness running scared of what feelings are coming? And can there be so strong a feeling that awareness itself gets hurt or dented or scratched in any way?
No.
Anything can happen in that space and the witnessing remains untouched.
It seemed that there was all that identified I and just allowed it in that 5,000 It also had a space.
But 5,000 is not different from the 5. You see, there is no levels for awareness, because for the infinite one, it doesn't matter if something is like this or like that or like that. To infinity, everything is nothing. Hmm? Now, where are you?
I'm here. I see the thoughts and coming and going, but even the fear is coming up again and again. But
So the fear is coming, and yet
I remain untouched.
you remain untouched.
Like you say, if I don't serve tea, then simply quiet.
How can you move out of this?
The moment I believe even a single thought.
Yeah. It seems as if, isn't it? It's only a seeming, as if you became solidified or became something, but in actuality, nothing happened. You see? So it's just a seeming. Maya is just a seeming. So when we buy into identity that I am somebody, you don't actually become a somebody, and no somebody is actually born. It is just the power that you have to take yourself to be somebody. You see? So you can take yourself to be, like if you close your eyes and take yourself to be a frog, you can, no? Imagine you're a frog living in a pond or something like that. It's not impossible for you. In the same way, you take yourself to be a set of perceptions, a set of sensations, okay? And you feel like, because there is a narrator, which is the mind, which is describing the seeming events of this one's life, it can seem like you're really that. You see, but in actuality, you still remain the witnessing. So nothing in actuality changes, but in the seeming it changes. But in that seeming, we are suffering. You see, in that seeming, we are suffering, and satsang is an antidote for that seeming. You see? It is not an antidote for anything real. It is just that for that seeming. It seems as if we have lost ourselves, but we come back to self-recognition, self-knowledge in this way. Bhante?
Yeah. Seeming always felt real.
Yeah, seeming is, it really seems real.
Yeah.
So anything that seems real, you can discard. The mind will tempt you. It'll say it feels so real, it seems so real. Maya means that which feels real and seems real. You see, God is a great designer. God is only designed Maya. So it is designed to feel real. Just like a realistic 3D movie is designed to feel real and seem real.
So whatever is, I always keep having this question that whatever is happening around, like even we sitting here.
Where are you sitting?
Sitting here.
Where are you watching this play from? Are you sitting here? The body is sitting here, apparently. Now, are you inside the body?
No.
Are you outside the body?
No.
So neither inside nor outside.
Then none of this, what's playing around, doesn't matter at all.
You tell me. If nothing can touch you, hurt you, affect you, then what would matter mean? When you say it doesn't matter, it has to touch you in some way to matter, isn't it?
Right.
What can touch you? Try to imagine the worst feelings, the worst events. See if what can touch you. Something has to come out of the realm of perception and come and give awareness a slap. Let's see if something can do that. Can't do that. So it doesn't matter in that way that you remain untouched by it.
I just feel I won't just, I see it's a thought
See it? So
that I just want to sit with it.
you must. You must sit with it.
With this pointer of not having a location inside, outside, it's like very direct.
But is it difficult?
No.
It's just clear, no? It's just apparent.
Yes.
Not in the mind, but intuitively you just know. Where am I? Where am I watching this whole world from? This world appears in front of me. But can I place myself in this world? I can't. Because this world is full of objects. And I don't have a single quality that this world can hold.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now remember that the mind will tempt you with all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of distractions. Just remain as this. Let it all come and go. And don't make any conclusions, no celebrations, nothing, just nothing for the moment. Jitin, I wanted to ask something.
When you were
Take
guiding
time.
us, so there was that feeling of this sensation of like an oppressive feeling on my chest, on my head. The last was that just now it felt like it would become so big. And you said before 5,000, it would become so big that I would die. I mean, like this body would die.
I is who?
The I, who I presume the false one.
Okay, so but I really is who?
I really is the witnessing, is the awareness that I am. And
What can hurt it? What does awareness look like? What is its location?
it's, as you went on, it feels like the battle. It goes on, it feels like between the reality that awareness is real and that this.
What does awareness look like?
So, it doesn't have any quality to it.
Who is aware of this awareness? You. Is this I which is aware distinct from it? Besides believing a thought, anything else you can do to construct yourself? No other methods of avidya?
Yes, like I have a maybe something just to hear from I had personal interest, which is power, which like the control of that, of being in control of things.
We'll come to you, we'll finish with your thing. Besides latching on to a thought, make yourself into the imagined one, the non-existent one.
So when I check that, I see that that awareness is not, it's not,
Where are you seeing awareness from?
when I leave the thought, I immediately don't, we recognize that this awareness is not doing, it's not something like.
Is it interchangeable to say I am not? If you were to say I check and I say I am not doing.
Yes, I
Say
mean, in
it
the
that way.
sense,
Don't say awareness, say I.
I'm not a doing, I'm not a.
If it is true.
Yes, I'm not, by awareness, I'm not a doing. I don't need anything to do anything.
Yes. Can you be anything but that? So when you say as awareness, I am not. Can you be anything but that in reality?
No. What?
Good tears, I'm presuming. You must well tell me because I always presume it's good tears.
was saying that.
Mhm.
But ask me again, please.
What?
Ask me again. Oh, what?
So I was saying, don't refer to it as awareness if it is you, because once you make it that and it, the mind will come and make a distinction and say, oh, nothing is happening to it, but I still have to work on something for myself. But is that your true self? So tell me something about you which is true.
I can say is that I can never not be, and I can never not be aware. That's
Look fresh now. The freshness. Let the words be inarticulate if they have to.
it's like God is inside my heart.
Yes, yes, we'll come to that part. Right? Okay, so can we go to him first and then come to Amrit?
Namaste.
Namaste.
So Father, I, I, I am able to meet that I am this awareness.
You're able to meet that you're this awareness?
Yes, I can. I was able to contemplate what you guided. But something where
Yeah, to be
why
louder
do
for this room. That mic is only for Zoom.
okay? So like what like when you say don't believe the mind, like is it that the awareness should not believe the mind, or is it that the mind takes over the awareness, or how does it like go away?
We'll demystify all of that. We'll demystify all of that. So today I'm going really slowly. Yeah? So we'll come to the mind and why it's important to not believe a thought.
Yes.
The thought comes and it's believed in because there's some
It's believed in.
no
खुद ही
खुद ही believe.
आ जाती है और खुद ही believe हो जाती है.
Ah, because there's I mean there's some juice. There is interest.
So with the juice, it just juices itself.
Yeah, juices itself.
You have nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it, but it
So
takes
that's like
the shape.
his question. He'll answer.
No, but there it goes. But the right now, it felt like it was a contrast, and in the awareness, it was seen very differently. Earlier, it was more like
And the quality less seem like two different.
not the quality. This I don't know. This is what happened just now.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
happened? That
Like-
awareness.
Not awareness.
Not
the
awareness.
thought came in. It was believed in a thought. Believed in a thought, and it just the eye. There was just was. It felt like I'm believing, and but that the believing was not suffering because it was seen.
Okay, so we'll come to belief and what happens in a moment. So we go really slowly. So you can stop me at that point. I'm just coming there. So everyone is able to follow along. I know everyone will say yes, but it's not true. But anyway, so let's presume everyone was able to follow along. And if it is true, then of course I'm very happy. But so in this qualityless reality of the absolute self, there is no question of shape, size, time, space, light, sound. None of that really applies to your reality. Any object, no matter how large it may be, is nothing for it because this is beyond time and space. All other things are time and space. So this is the absolute reality, although to the mind it is nothing because it is not a thing. So this is the magnificence of the no thing reality that is you. It's astounding and it never gets old. Okay? This is a tip for you. If the mind comes and tells you, no, that is clear now, it's done. You see, no. This the ananda of meeting yourself in a nirguna way is the ananda of meeting yourself as nirguna Brahman, and that is called Brahmananda. That is the highest ananda possible, although to the mind again it is nothing. So this never gets old. It's not a objective ananda, it's not a taste, it doesn't have to taste like a sweetness or a joy or a bliss, but it is beyond all these considerations, and it is your eternal resting place. So then don't ever let the mind come and convince you that no, that part is not important and it's the highest ananda also. Look at the astounding reality that you yourself are this, beyond all the universes, beyond all time and space. Now within this magnificence of you, within this I, which is your reality, there is a birth of being. For some reason which we can never explain, which is known only to God, there is a birth of being. So the Saguna takes birth in the Nirguna. This is, and in most cultures and traditions, including in India, it is this consciousness, this being, which we call God. Although God, this consciousness just emerges from awareness itself. Therefore, it is not really distinct from awareness, it is one. It is I which is playing as I am. So if the fist was like this, you see, in the Nirguna state, the fist is now like this. Doesn't mean that there were two fists. You see, the fist is open. That means the qualities are sort of showering out, but the fist remains the same. The qualities were not there, which is like deep sleep state, and then the qualities come. And the quality comes when this plays as this. I plays as I amness. I am. You see? I now am present. I am being. I am conscious. You see? And with the birth of consciousness, universes are born. All this play of light and sound. It sounds like a crazy sci-fi fantasy movie, but this is your reality. That within your being is this whole world play being created and witnessed. So this is the birth of consciousness itself within pure awareness. There's a being. There was no being. Awareness is beyond being and not being. Now it itself is being. It is present. It has taken manifestation. It has manifested itself. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that this consciousness takes birth within myself. And this consciousness is the source of all things that can be perceived and experienced. Everything that can be perceived, experienced, tasted takes birth within this consciousness, within your being. And if this being had left it at that, then it would just enjoy the taste of this appearance. But again, for some unexplainable reason, it wanted to play in this experience with even more juice, like even with more like involvement. You see? Because it is just otherwise in pure perception. This whole world comes into creation, but anywhere that is perceived within the being cannot be hurt, harmed, nothing can happen to it, no matter what is playing out in front of it. Isn't it? So just like awareness, beingness also remains untouched. It is like the space in which the space takes birth. It is the space in which time takes birth. So it remains untouched by whatever else may be appearing within time and space. So, and that is why the sages of the past made this whole theory of the Chidvilasa, which is the play of consciousness. You see? So it is playing, but the play is no fun. It is watching everything. Anybody can do anything. Doesn't hurt me. Doesn't affect me. So it's like one of those movies that you can't understand. Just playing out. It has no meaning for you, but you cannot relate to it. So we can never explain why God did this, but one of the explanations is to make it more relatable, to have more juice in it, to play a game as if you're really involved. No? Suppose you bought the most expensive computer game in the world and you put it on and you're not relating with it. No, you could not get involved with the characters. The mission was meaningless for you. It's like, what is the point of this game? You see? So God also felt like, I'm just making up things, okay? So God also felt like that. And God said, we need to juice up this play somehow. So what if we were to give this being, like the centrality of visual perspective through the lens of a body? Let's give it like a visual centrality as if it is contained in that body. And also, let's put a narrator there. You see? Narrator. What is the narrator called? Something fancy. So, Sutradhar. So, let's put a narrator there who explains the story to us. You see? What is this play about? It is telling us, this is happening, this is happening, this is what you want me to do, this is what you must not do, this is what you want, this is what you don't want, this is so right, this is so wrong, all these things it will tell, and then this play will start to seem more real, juicy. And you want to grasp things here, you want to run from things here, like that. You see, so God has designed all this to happen. Because just in pure perception, nothing touches you. Pain doesn't touch you, pleasure doesn't bother you, nothing happens. So then to really play as if it's got some real juice and sting and it can be exciting, all this narrative and all this goes on. So this is the birth of the mind. The narrator is what? The mind, no? The one that puts a subtitle on every scene saying this is what's happening, this is what's going on.
Invisible narrator.
invisible, except through its product. No, like when the subtitles come, you don't see the subtitler; you just see the subtitles. So in fact, there is no such actual thing like the mind. That because the subtitles come, we use a word to define it. So we say that is the mind. So we say the mind does this, the mind does this. It's just in the nature of creation itself, in the nature of Maya itself, there's the nature of the narrative principle or the narrative energy. In some way, it's not really that, but that's what we call the mind. Now, what happens as this awareness gave birth to consciousness? I'm talking about you, by the way. Huh? You did all this. You gave birth to consciousness. And then now, to make this play exciting for you, you also inserted a mind over there. You said, okay, I will listen to this, so it'll have some drama, some entertainment will be real. But you realize that you're so powerful, and again making stories, okay? None of this is real, just to give it some sort of metaphorical impact. So you realize that you're so powerful. If you create the narrator in this way, that if you create a narrator like this, you create this play like this, which is endless, because your power is endless. It can keep going on, and you can keep getting identified in this. You may never leave. You might just take yourself to be body mind after body mind after body mind after body mind. You may never end. So then, for yourself, you realize that I have to build an alarm clock for myself, so I wake up out of this stuff. What is the alarm clock? Usually, the alarm clock is suffering. You build that suffering alarm clock so that nothing always, it's not always fun and games, and there are moments where you feel like you're really suffering. So you start asking the question, what is really going on here? You see, no, I mean, very rarely have people asked the question, who am I and what is going on here, unless life has slapped them around. You see, it's very, very rare. It is possible, but it's very rare. So that alarm clock is there. And then what happens is that you did not want this movie to then get over immediately. Like, oh, suffering finished. Oh, I am awareness. Because you built up over a long time, no, maybe lifetimes, to get to your conditioning. You did all that hard work to to take this play to be real, to get involved in it, to relate to it, to take a narrative, to have some weight and value. You did all that hard work. Now, suppose the alarm clock was just, oh, ting ting, oh, I am awareness. So it doesn't usually go like that. You see? So then what happens? How to juice out the ending also nicely. You don't want, hardly anybody likes movies with abrupt ending. So you want to make it step by step, So you start a spiritual journey, start a quest for self-realization. Really, it's like you see most movies, the villain has oppressed the central protagonist. You see, for a long time, suffering, more suffering, and how evil is this person? How are they doing that? You see, and suppose the protagonist, the hero, heroine just came one day and shot the villain. Movie finished in 5 seconds. You won't like it, no? You want to say you build up some strengths, like you do the training montage in the Rocky movies, you do all that stuff. So you build up. So what happens in the human condition? You start slowly going towards God. You start questioning what is really true. You start, life is squeezing your throat, so you start to surrender to God. You discover spirituality in some way. And then maybe many years of spiritual shopping, and this could be lifetimes also. Like this play could stretch out over a long period. So spiritual shopping, gurus, practices, teachers, find something like that, and then better, freer, and then you come to, wow, I'm not this. My reality is that of awareness. And in that recognition, if you really keep looking, you'll see the mechanics of avidya, the mechanics of ignorance, the mechanics of delusion as well, as to how you as consciousness fooled yourself into taking yourself to be an individual entity. And you recognize that as consciousness, if you don't buy into your own mind's thoughts, consciousness I am can never take itself to be I am something. You see, so who believes the thought? This consciousness itself, because consciousness is the only being, you see, and all these powers of attention, belief, identity, all these powers belong to consciousness itself. So who's doing it? You. Who's that? Your being, your presence. When you're in the unmanifest, none of this is there. There's no universe at all. If there's no movie, what will you subtitle? See? So first the movie has to come, then you have to, then that aspect of you, which is called the mind, has to produce all the garbage, limited ideas, you see, which you as consciousness end up believing to take yourselves to be, I am something. Now, remember that even after an awakening or an awakening experience, or even that which you may call freedom, you see, the Maya is so strong that some remnants of this mind always end up getting some belief. You may be as open and empty as possible, 99.9997% empty, therefore free from delusion. But that little bit will still give your expression a particular flavor which will make it you. In the sense that, like, if Amrita becomes completely free tomorrow, when she sends me a message, I will still somewhere recognize that it's coming from Amrita, because there's some conditioning, like the way she'll write, or the way she'll say namaste, or something like that. You'll recognize. So that is the remnants of the ego, as Bhagavan called it, the burnt rope. You see, the rope seems so real, like I am something seems so real, and then that I am something becomes milder and milder and milder and milder. You see? And this one doesn't 100% go away for anybody. It has never gone away for anyone. In fact, when the avatars came onto this world, they also have a little bit of this when they came. They gave it to themselves also. So we must not presume that we will be the first one to be fully like, I am awareness. It will not happen. So now, what to do with this one? Because it seems like, as I'm explaining it, very tiny. You see? But this one, no, is like a virus. You see? If you give it anything to eat, it'll grow. Before you know it, it's gone again. You see? Like, and the funny thing is, it can make anything into food, any notion into food. So even the highest spirituality, if it becomes conceptual, it'll become food for this virus of I am something. You see, it's become very tiny now. Only one virus is remaining. It was a full infection. Now only one virus is remaining. But now if you get the food of, oh, I am God himself, I am the self itself, I am awareness itself. Just, it feeds on what? Concepts, no? Yeah, so concepts can be believed. Perception cannot be believed, isn't it? Can you believe this? You can't believe this. So this is just perceived. You say, I used to say often, no, that just believe this. I said, but what? I'm just this. So you can't just believe that. You need a message to believe. And the spiritual messages are also great messages for it to believe. Yeah. So if it become like that I am this, I could be this, you see, then it can cause huge havoc. And it will always find some food to eat. So that is why the sages found this out. They saw in themselves and they saw in their students and they saw in the human condition that this pesky little monkey always remains. So what to do with that one? We must make that one a servant of God. Always put it in seva of God. So it never becomes, it always is like that. So that's why servitude is very important. And then what can happen is that one of the biggest anchors to remain in the truth of who you are is the love which is present here in the presence of God. Love is very natural. So if you stay with that love, stay with that, deepen in that love, then the mind's attractions, including spiritual attractions, I am free, I am a sage now, I should share satsang now, I should do this now, all this will not seem as attractive to us because you are so much in love. You couldn't bother. All of us remember being in love. It may have been a long time ago or recently, but you remember. No? Are you bothered about much else? Especially when that in love feeling is new. No? Then you're eating in that love state, you're doing everything, you're breathing in that love state, everything is happening. That love everywhere. So that love comes from where? Has any person ever been able to send love to you? You see? Where does that love come from? From inside. What is that source of that love? The being itself, the presence itself. It has never come to us from outside. It's always God that has given us this love. You see? But because the mind cannot fathom it, it has to place it on objects and people on the outside. So if you stay with that love deeply in your heart, and unconditional love means it's beyond conditions, whether you're experiencing suffering in your life, whether your life is tough at the moment or it is easy at the moment, your love for God is not dependent on those things. It is unconditional. So when you stay with that love, you're remaining actually in God's love for God, God's love for you, your love for God, whichever way you want to call it, it is just love. So anchored in this love, then servitude also seems easier, it seems more beautiful. See, bhakti, when it is soaked in love, doesn't seem like hard work. But when it's not soaked in love, it can seem like difficult. I have to do it. I have to be humble. I have to be faithful. I have to be grateful. It sounds like too much work. But when you're in love with that, you see, so if you're in love with someone, then to be faithful to them, then to be kind to them, then to be grateful to them, all seems very easy. No? But without that love, it can seem like much more work. So that is why I've been saying that insight is what we discovered in terms of to know. See, to know with a capital K, not to conceptually know. See? To know reality, self-knowledge. So to know, to love, and to serve. These are the three elements of spiritual life, true spirituality. Now the thing is that initially everybody's temperament is different. So when I talked about awareness, insight, all of those things, half of you may have switched off. I'll come back later when the topic or theme is different. So it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't have to be that you start with insight and then it goes to love and servitude. You start with love sometimes. You don't know what that consciousness is, but you realize that there is a God and you can love that God. You could just start from there. You see that there is a God, there's a presence. I may not recognize it, but even if it is a belief that I have for the moment, but my love is not a belief. My love is pure, my love is true. So you could start with love, or you could start with servitude. So you could start by realizing that there's too much pride inside you. You take yourself to be too special. You take yourself to be something all the time. So start by becoming humble, becoming compassionate, kind, grateful to life. You start in that way. So whatever way you start, it doesn't have to be one or the other, you see, and it doesn't have to be only one. It could be a combination. You see? It's not just like we say your temperament is like this, but it's not just temperament. It varies from day to day. Like sometimes you just want to be in that love. Sometimes you want to inquire. Sometimes you want to go do some seva and help some people. You see? So it varies day to day also. So although yes, there's a broad temperament we can say everyone has, but all these elements are important. And don't feel that but that what is left of the ego after true awakening or insight is so little. Why do we have to bother so much with servitude and love? So why can't we just remain open? That'd be so much easier. It seems like too much work. See, but are you noticing this one? This one itself is the one that needs to be in servitude. Why can't we? Why can't that one is not open and empty? You see? So if you still have a flavor, you see, if you still have a like a coloring, you know that in your heart. So that flavor must be kept in service to God. Then you will save yourself and those around you a lot of trouble. Because the price of spiritual arrogance is humongous. You'll cause much more trouble than hell. And we don't need to get into the specific examples, but there are many throughout history, especially in this country. We've had many who've had maybe authentic insight, but then later caused more trouble than actually help. Because they were not done with their conditioning, they were not able to remain in servitude, they started thinking that they are special, that they're somebody, and the rules don't apply to them, ethics don't, morality doesn't apply to them, all this became very convenient awakening. So we must not get into those situations at all. Because to the spiritual ego, exploitation is not exploitation. It's an entitlement. Nobody exploits their children, their brothers and sisters, with an idea that they're exploiting. They just put themselves into such a delusion, so much ignorance, that it becomes like an entitlement. Yeah. And they have all the best Advaita excuses for it. So let's not presume that we don't need to be in servitude or humble. Wait for me to tell you that we can make as a deal. If one day you don't need humility or servitude, I'll tell you. But don't come to that conclusion yourself. Also, you'll realize that one thing that happens in spiritual ego is that you stop missing the nudges. You start missing the nudges. Life is poking you. But you are just like, I am Brahman, nothing is happening to me, I am Brahman. You see, which is true. But if it just becomes conceptual and a way to avoid the inner conflict that is happening within you, and it's just you're using the concepts of spirituality to balm yourself, and so that you don't have to look at it. Use every poke. Use every poke. You see? Because what can get poked? Pride. You see, it's pride. Humility does not get poked. Can you poke humility? It's like somebody is humble. How will you poke? No. If somebody is like that, then you can burst their bubble. No? Only pride can get poked. So when the Pope comes, put that into your inquiry or surrender that to the in your servitude to the divine. You can just pray and say, thank you, Father, for this event or this situation. I don't sometimes recognize what things are for, but I trust you completely that you have given me this prasad. It must be based on your will, so I accept it wholeheartedly. So in our wholehearted acceptance also, we can surrender, or we can inquire and say, who is not liking this? Okay. I may not read all the chat, but some messages. One of the messages is, but Father, now we are just guessing. Yes, maybe there is something to the world which mankind has to find out to make heaven on earth. Maybe there is a meaning which is beyond we know what we know now. Maybe it is not just a game without any meaning. Yes. So it is not just a game without any meaning. It is actually very amenable for a lot of meanings. We can call it an evolution, we can call it a learning ground, we can call it a test, we can call it God experiencing love for himself, we can call it so many things. So it's not, it's very, very amenable to meaning. But can we at this moment conclude that this is what was in God's mind when creation happened? Or as this creation is happening now? We cannot say. Is it? And your point is valid that if God has not revealed it so far, doesn't mean that He'll never reveal it. Maybe one day He will. My feeling about this is that it's too broad for the way the human condition is at the moment to fathom. Because in my heart, it is not as if it is not known. It is just that there are no constructs to be able to enumerate it, to spell it out. That's a very good point, actually. So your intuitive insight will always be much, much broader and bigger than what this human play at the surface will be able to communicate. So you must not become impatient with that. How it happens here mostly is that I start getting just some signals. Like something starts, like in Satsang, something will come for the first time. Okay, what is this? Then I'll hear it. Something is trying to say, you see, but the words are not there. Then over the next weeks, months, years, sometimes something develops in the outer expression. That which gets known in the heart easily, instantly, intuitively, sometimes can take a long, long time to put into words, and sometimes impossible to put in words. One more question. Okay. The constructs of reality make no sense. The constructs of reality make no sense. Yes. Like how I got here, yes. And where is it here even? Yes. Did I just wake up here? Yes. Did it just begin? Yes. Nothing makes sense. Sense making is too tiny an instrument to make sense of God's play. That's why when we ask this question for a long time saying, what is this? What is this? You never make sense of it. The intellect is too small. Trying to measure this room with a thermometer. You can't measure this room with a thermometer. It's just the wrong instrument. So our mind intellect is too small to fathom the nature of reality. Okay, next one. Father, please explain a little bit more on I am aware and believe the thought also. Can you come up? I can't understand the questions. Okay, wait for you to come. Yes. So one says, I literally woke up with this question and insight that you are speaking about right now, about the elements of spirituality and the order they come in. I feel like the deepening of servitude is coinciding with the deepening in the love for God. Yes, and also the deepening of insight is a deepening of love and servitude. As you remain in the insight and you remain open and empty, you can try this experiment actually. See if you can keep the love in check. Try to keep love in check. When you stay as what you really are, can't do it. It is sprouting out. Yes. So love, servitude, insight. Can I just say a few things about servitude so that we get a sense of what that is? Most of you may have seen my message actually on the group. So, what does it mean to be a true servant of God? Am I faithful to His reality? Am I faithful to His reality? And each of those words, we can make a full satsang out of them. But to put simply, am I presently taking Him to be just an idea? Or is He a living presence here, right now? Am I relying on my intuitive insight of His reality presently here? Or I have suppressed it to some distant corner of my mind and say, oh, God is here. Huh? Is God really here? Just like I am sitting in front of you, your neighbor is sitting next to you, all the ones on Zoom are there. Do you give them more reality than God's presence, which is your very being? It's a very important question. What are you taking to be more real? If God's reality is more real, then you tell me something, you tell me something. I can't really get upset. I can't really get shaken because God is with me. It's not a concept which gets then blurred out when some new concept comes. Because he is actually with me. He is actually with you as a real actual being, as an actuality. Right? So not as a force of nature, not as a scientific principle. That's why we have to be careful of the words awareness and consciousness, because sometimes we feel like, oh, like electricity is powering this light and magnetism is making the computer function, or these forces are there. Just like that, there is an awareness and there's a conscious. No, we're talking about an actuality, an actual being, which is more powerful than anything ever. So literally your very being is God. Not notionally, it's not just a feel-good idea, is it? That God is everywhere. The God will take care of it. Nice ideas, but really, who are you talking about? The most intimate. You see, it is you yourself, your very presence. But as long as the remnant of the me is there, for even the remnant of the ego, it is the most intimate relationship possible. Is it? The most intimate relationship possible. And if you have this relationship, nothing really can affect you or hurt you in life. You will never go anchoring to the world with a begging bowl, asking for things, wanting things, grasping things. Because you have God in your heart. And what should our attitude be towards this God? It has to be that which is of faith and servitude. So the first element of servitude is faith. Because to rely, how do you know God is here in your heart? How do you know this is not just lip service and big talk? All insight is there. Intuitively you know. You see? But faith is what? Suppose reason will come. Reason will come, no? Like our families, and they will say, be reasonable. You see? Be reasonable. Don't overdo it. You see? Like this, God doesn't come like that to anyone. You have to do tapasya for thousands of years. Then God will come. Be reasonable. It doesn't come like that. You're fooling yourself. You see, reason will come or other people's minds will come. But to value your own insight, even at the cost of looking stupid to others and to your mind will say you're throwing away your life. You're still young. Get a grip. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying do it in balance. You see? It'll come with all this prodding and pleading. But if you rely on your faith, and it is not a blind faith, it is a completely open-eyed faith, because you're not relying on just a concept, you're relying on your own intuitive insight. So either your intuition is lying to you and deluding you, or you can trust it with your life. But there will be always times where it will seem like it is a risk. You see? There will always be times where it will seem like it is a risk when life gives you so-called opportunities, but you feel that it will require you to be in disservice to God in your heart. It may seem like a risk. That is this stuff really real? Are we all just deluding ourselves? That was Jesus' complaint, no? बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया अभी, बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया. That was his complaint. Too much heaven on their mind. So to be faithful, especially when life comes and shakes you and tempts you, not to lose sight of the fact that God is with you. What else do you want? God is really with you, but you can't just conceptually say God is with me, God is with me, because that will not withstand life. Like a conceptual spirituality does not withstand life. It gets shaken out. Life comes and slaps you, your girlfriend comes and fights with you, or your partner comes and fights with you, or you lose your money, something happens, gone. No? Where is God? Right now. He can wait. I have to fix my things. But that is the difference between like a notional, conceptual idea of God versus a true living with God, a true living in the light of presence. So we need to deepen in our faith, like I was saying, multiple levels. I said 10, but maybe 1,000 times. You see? Because I've seen that we get shaken too easily. We forget about God really fast. What does this one tell me? Then no God, nothing. This becomes important.
But the father was someone doing it now doesn't get shaken.
Very good, very good.
Actually, it's normal.
I'm happy if it is true. But no matter where you are, it can still deepen by a multiple, a huge multiple. See, because that deepening is endless. So to rely on your intuitive insight, come what may, to risk and bet your life that your faith is true, is the first, and it's not in order of preference or anything, but the first one we've discussed in terms of the qualities of servitude. And even this will take care of all the other things. Actually, any of them will take care of all the other things, including insight and love. That's why it's so beautiful. So if you just have a deep, deep faith and remain in God's presence, love will come, insight will come, everything will come. Humility will come, gratitude will come, everything will come. So this is faith. Then humility, if you, and I've spoken a lot about this, so I won't speak so much about this, which is that if you fill the lane with yourself, there's no room for God. If you fill your space, your inner space with me, and even God is for me, then forget about it. Empty yourselves. You're nothing. What you take yourself to be is, even according to scientists, it's some 99.9% space. So the space between these molecules is so much that you're mostly space only. So if you take yourself to be the body, even then you're nothing. Okay? So, and in the magnitude of time and space also, this body mind is nothing. It's nobody. Okay? There's nothing at all. So don't live as if you're somebody, that you're something special. There's nothing like this. So know that you're completely unimportant. And the minute you start to become something, the minute you start to take yourself to be something, then it is not that God will not nudge you, folks will come. Don't get into any sort of denial, like conceptual Advaita denial of faith. humility, obedience. What is obedience? Yeah, to follow God's will. Which means, what are we not following? We're not following self-will. We're not following living on our own terms, so to speak. Okay? Now, what happens? What happens to us on a day-to-day basis? We are very quick to determine what is right. And the minute that we determine what is right or what is better, the mind is constantly proposing to us, no? This is right, this is better, this is wrong. Then you will be tempted to follow that self-will, because once you've determined that I am right, another is wrong, or another is right and I am wrong, did you wait for God to tell you? Did you wait for God's presence to move you? Then where is the obedience? So obedience has to become moment to moment. The following of God's will has to become moment to moment. You cannot just say, okay, now today Ananta told me to do this, I did that, I'm so obedient, and I hardly tell anyone to do anything anyway. That is not obedience. We must be fully surrendered to a God directed life, a God dictated life, moment to moment. And you don't have the excuse that I have not found God. Those whom have not been in satsang may say, how to follow God's will? I haven't found Him. We are so privileged, so honored that we can even make a statement like this, that God's presence is palpable, it is tangible for us. So are we saying that that presence, that beingness cannot run this life? That I have to make it run this life on my own terms? So in India we say that we must all follow our dharma, but most have a deep misunderstanding about what the dharma is. There is no higher dharma than following God, than to follow His will. That is our highest dharma. Can you keep everything aside and follow God's will? It may attack your sensibilities, like the Arjuna conundrum. What happened with Arjuna? God Himself was his best friend and Guru. And he also agreed to be his charioteer on the battle, because he probably realized all this stuff will happen. So when they made the trade between the army and him, all Krishna's Leela, so he said, okay, I'm going to be this one's charioteer and be available to him. And how is the conversation going in the Gita? Is Arjuna being obedient? Everything, no? Our morality, our sensibilities, our sensitivity, our everything is coming in the way. Everything which is blocking, God Himself is telling him, his master himself, his best friend and confidant himself is telling him that I want you to fight. then what is your business to sit and think? It's not exactly, but very similar to the Abraham story. It is no longer our business to sit and evaluate based on any worldly paradigms of things. When God's presence is clear and His guidance is apparent. So, you may have a valid point. You may say that my mind often tricks me. So, how can I be certain that this guidance is coming from God? Or is it coming from my mind? That's a very valid question to have. But the first part of following God's will is to be empty of self-will. If you filled yourself first with so much I want, I need, I want my life to go this way, I should have this much money, I should have this relationship, all of that stuff, then where is the room for God's will? Then you're just looking for a genie, magic genie, rub the lamp, do some mantra and say, God, please, this is my will, please you be my servant and you help me acquire this. This is the modern version of spirituality, that God will assist me if I just do some magic tricks. So we must get out of that nonsense, let go of selfishness and self-will and make space, be empty. When you are empty, haven't you seen that God moves you? Whose life has become static and vegetative in being empty? Whose life has become vegetative? And you try to be open and empty, you just say, no. You see? At least my experience here is that it becomes even more like full on, just like moves with a beautiful light. But it's very important first to follow God's will by emptying yourself of self-will, emptying yourself of individual will. Usually you will find that once you get used to that, then God's voice will become apparent to you. Then you can say, I woke up today and God told me I should do this. You don't have to rush into that, because it's true that the mind can trick you. So don't, and if it is rushing, then most likely it is the mind anyway. God is not in a rush. So I've given you the tools also, how to know it is coming from the Sadguru presence within or God's presence within. If it is accompanied by unconditional love, or the presence is palpable, or the reality of yourself as pure awareness is clearly apparent to you, then you can trust it as if it is coming from God. But also I give you the guarantee that if truly from your heart your intention is to follow God's will and you end up getting tricked by the mind, God will make grace even out of that. So you don't have to fear the mind so much that, oh, maybe this. Is your intention truly to follow God and to keep your plan for your life aside and to keep your plan for the day aside? We are very sticky about these things. See, we say we are fully surrendered to God. But if God just changes a little bit of your calendar, you just, oh, my day is all messed up. How can I live like this? Yeah? Such difficulty. I had planned all my meetings and So when the rubber hits the road, that's when it counts. All the lip service, armchair spirituality is not worth anything. So, are you willing to surrender your whole life to God's will? Or do you think that somewhere you know better? That is pride. So, obedience may sound like a simple word, but it requires it requires full faith, humility, trust. So, we've discussed 3 elements of servitude. The fourth one I feel is very beautiful, is to just have a prayerful attitude. Have a prayerful attitude. When life squeezes you, or even without, rely on God, pray to God instead of trusting your own strength. Don't be scared to be weak and go to God. Don't think, oh, but if all 7 billion of us pray to Him, then He'll have too much to handle. I will take care of this myself. So many times, our pride puts all these ideas that we are actually taking care of God. God is available to us in every moment of our life, much more than we'll ever realize. So we never need to. Time doesn't work for God like it seems to work for you. God is not racing against the clock every day saying 24 hours, getting over. It's not like that movie, God Almighty, where all the emails are there, just sitting and replying to. It's not like that. It's not infinite time. We've got infinite time for each of us. Are we using it? Or are we relying on ourselves? So if some guidances come and we are not clear, is it from you, God? Pray on it. Please help me, Father. Help me. Guide me as to what to do. And of course, you're free to use whatever expression of God you resonate with the most. Here I use Father because I refer to God as Father and Guruji as Father. So it's a multi-purpose term. But whatever you feel resonates closest to you, you can use that. And I was saying that these are the elements of servitude. And Amol actually said, Father, what about gratitude? And I felt like that's very beautiful actually. Because just to be grateful for He's given us so much. Every heartbeat, every breath. We have so many complaints. Why didn't you do this for me? How could you do this to me? But He's giving you a breath. What made you entitled to it? Nothing can make us entitled in front of God. Nothing can give us rights in front of God. So we must never forget His grace and His mercy. And the beauty about all these things is that You don't have to plan your day saying 9 to 11 I'll be faithful, 11 to 12 I'll be humble. You don't have, just it becomes an inner attitude, and all of them are interrelated, and you see that how much deeper your insight is. You may feel that what we started with, you see, the nature of pure reality is pure awareness. It's called Brahma Gyan. It's supposed to be the rarest, available only to the rarest of the rare. But you're noticing that what is needed is not some accomplishment or spiritual progress. What is needed is innocence and openness. If you're innocent, the cup is not full, then children who are coming many times for the first few satsangs have had this insight. So, but you notice that the mind's temptations won't seem as strong if you're anchored in love for God and if you're anchored in servitude. So, insight, which is to know yourself, love, which is such an accessible, beautiful way to meet God. And servitude, which is the best way to keep the spiritual ego in check. So come what may, don't let your mind normalize God. Don't let it regularize it. We're talking about God. The mind wants to make you higher than God. It wants to make you at least like peers. There's some sweetness like that. If it comes from innocence, you may say, God is my best friend, like that. It's okay. But really, there's no comparison possible. So you must be left more awestruck than, pally pally. And that then becomes reverence. Reverence is like a deep love and trust mixed with some awe, almost bordering on like a fear, but not a fear, but just bordering on that, because like if there's a huge tiger in front of you and you know that it is actually harmless and it loves you, see, but just being in front of that huge tiger, there will be some awe always. That's very healthy actually, because it prevents a sort of, yeah man, a kind of casual sort of. So we never forget the honor and privilege it is to have this holiness of His presence within us. Is it? And that is the danger of just using words like beingness and awareness. Oh yeah, there's a beingness, but I've gone beyond that to awareness. It can become. So we must be careful of that, because what are we saying? We're talking about consciousness, God Himself. No, I am very nirguna, or I am very. Be careful of the mind's position making, because it doesn't know what it's talking about. That in the light of whom Ram and Krishna and Jesus have lived in this world. That in the light of which a zillion universes can come and go in a blink of an eye. Stay deep in your intuitive meeting with that, instead of allowing your mind to regularize it, normalize it. And then every day you will feel like, I'm even more of a beginner than I was yesterday. Every day you feel like, I'm talking about God. I've just got a grasp of His toenail. Not even that. The enormity of the discovery of God's light within yourself must never become like a normal thing. But I moved on to awareness, Yes, it's natural. In your spiritual so-called journey, you will have times where you will marinate in the absolute. There will be times where you will enjoy loving the presence of being. All that is fine. But don't become mental about any of this, especially with an idea of being something great or special. Okay. Are we running late? Let's quickly look at a few questions. Devi, you can come.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Your image is mostly frozen, but I can hear you well.
Okay. Okay, good. I wanted to speak to you today because I've been struggling the last period, and I just get into very negative states, and it feels difficult to overcome it. And I know it feels like there is a lot of ego in it, but it's just, I don't know how to, I just mostly fight with it, trying to stay on top of it, or to not be negative, but it's just like a fight, and I get very tired. And
Yes. So don't fight with it. It's probably the worst way to deal with it, and maybe we've discussed it before as well. So fight means to meet it at its level, no? So it's saying ABC, you're saying XYZ, it's saying this. So that is the way that you would fight with it, and it leads nowhere. So what is that famous saying? Never argue with a fool. Never argue with a fool, because first they pull you down to their level and then they beat you because they're good at it, at playing at that level. So don't fight with the mind at the mind's level. You have to transcend it. And the way to transcend it is to remain open and empty. And if you feel like open and empty is difficult, then you can remain in the presence of love in your heart. You can do the inquiry, the invitation, the Atma Darshan Samadhi. So many tools are available to you. So, but I would just say remain in the unborn, remain in the no mind. And if it seems too compelling, then inquire or any of the tools which are there. Have you tried, and then what happens? I'm sure
Yeah, I
you
tried,
would have
like,
tried.
for example, I'm sitting with this prayer that you gave us, and sometimes I sit for 1 hour and it's just a little bit of space, but then it gets covered pretty quickly. But maybe I'm still like in a fight, or I don't know, I'm trying too hard, or I don't know what, but and then
Yes.
there's some
Right now,
build
do
up
you
of like,
experience
oh,
your presence?
yeah, sorry.
Do you experience your presence at the moment?
Yes.
Yes. Can you love this presence? Like hug it from the inside. Just love it like a child.
I guess there's a lot of fear that it's just not working. I just can't get to peace, and I'm going with this fear. Like it's like a lot of ideas from the mind, just with fear and proposing, oh, this is not going to work. Look, you have all these problems. You have to fix this first.
Yeah, yeah, yes. That is the nature of the mind. That is the nature of the mind. Okay, so before we come to that, then when the mind offers you all of these things, you find it very difficult to just let them come and go?
Yeah. Now that I'm speaking to you, it feels more easy. But when I'm doing by myself, it's so easy to get into, oh, I just can't do it. It's making me worse and all this stuff. So
Yes, yes, yes. So don't stop speaking to me.
and also, like,
How are
when
you
you were
speaking to
guiding, yeah,
me?
when you were guiding us in the beginning, you were asking about who is aware and all these things, and I feel there's so much resistance, and something is so defensive in me. Like, the mind is so, it has so many, like, I feel I just don't have a clear sense of that, like that I am in that place, and it's painful because I would like to see, but then I'm also like, oh, yeah,
The
I'm
prerequisite for
hopeless.
it is just to be first, we have to be relaxed. No?
Yeah,
So what can happen is the mind will push us in a tizzy first. Oh, they're not getting it. It's not happening for you. All of that. So it makes us the opposite of how we need to be to come to the
yeah,
innocence of this self-discovery. No? So first, just one thought at a time. Just let it go. Just let it go. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to get anywhere. Just one thought you have to let go. It's coming, it's going. That's all. It's coming, it's going. Moment to moment, thought by thought. Of course, the thought will come and say, you can't do it, it's too difficult, it's okay now because Ananta is with you, all these things, but let them go, one thought at a time. Don't worry.
There is also like a very disturbed state, like anxious and tired and like, I don't know. And yeah, I just let that also be, no?
Yes. Just let everything be, and let the thoughts just come and go. It's okay. So don't worry about anything else till the next time we meet. Just
Okay.
one thought at a time. Let it go. Not the 100, not 10, just the one that comes. That's all. Because the mind will scare you. It'll say, it's too difficult, I can't do it. But one thought is never too difficult. And you only have to deal with one at a time.
Yes.
And keep talking to me, I'm with you. If that helps.
Yes. Yes, it helps because otherwise it just makes me want to give up and just feel hopeless.
I'm with you, I'm with you.
Thank you.
We love you. Okay. Maybe last one for today, we'll just talk to Poonam.
Namaste, Father. Am I audible?
Yes, my dear. Namaste.
Okay. There is some internet issue, so I don't know how long I will be able to speak. In the beginning, when you are doing that inquiry with the lady, you said one thing to that girl, like just be aware and let the thought, like believe the thought also. That I didn't understand what you were trying to say, because at that time I was also doing and I was in awareness, and I could not believe the thought. Then I thought, like, how it is possible to like remain in awareness and believe the thought also.
Correct, exactly. So I was just trying to illustrate the same point, actually, saying that as you're aware, you're never, actually nothing ever changes for that, but it does seem to change, but it only seems to change once you believe a thought. Now, what happens usually is that if you're sitting empty and your truth is apparent to you, it is very difficult to believe a thought. It's very difficult. So I want all of you to get a taste of that as well, where it can seem so difficult to let go of the mind on other times. But when you welcome it, When you say, come, come, I want to believe something, it seems so much more difficult to believe or to identify.
True. And in fact, there was no interest at all in that. Like, I was not interested.
Exactly. That's fine, my dear. That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Okay. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Hey.
Guru Kripa Keval.